We continue our coverage of emerging markets. Tonight, we're tackling the politics of the economic crisis, and that's with a special focus on the impact of the trade wars that are playing themselves out currently, particularly between the US and China, and the impact that it's having on the rest of the world. And certainly one country that has felt that impact is none other than Turkey. Shahan Ramkissoon is in Istanbul for us. Shahan, good evening. I imagine that as much as the Turkish government is trying to respond to this as an economic crisis, they're looking at political ways of resolving it too.
Yeah, definitely, Kathy. Of course, this is something that has to do with politics because politics and the economy go hand in hand. In fact, what politicians do will have even more of an impact with these trade wars. You have the US President Donald Trump, a fierce leader, many would call him, and you also have Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, on the same level, some would argue, as Donald Trump, not backing down when it comes to those trade wars. He retaliated, some say he just reacted to those trade wars by also imposing tariffs on US goods. He also called on people not to buy Apple phones, for instance. He put prices of alcohol up from the US as well as cigarettes. And I can tell you something, Kathy. People smoke cigarettes in Turkey like it's out of fashion. I'm in a hotel room that's supposed to be a non-smoking room, but it reeks of cigarettes because almost everybody who comes here and lives here in Turkey smokes. It's a normal thing, I was told at the hotel reception when I went downstairs to complain about my room stinking of cigarette smoke. But enough about that. Of course, that's just one of the implications of these trade wars. Let's find out more from an analyst that is a Turkey expert analyst that works for TRT World, Yusuf Erim. He joins us now. Yusuf, of course, we are talking about the politics of what's happening here. You have two opposing presidents, two strong presidents who are not willing to back down. This doesn't seem to be ending anytime soon.
No, it's definitely not going to end anytime soon because there's a lot of problems in the U.S.-Turkey relationship. You have the Pastor Brunson issue. You have the issue east of the Euphrates where America is backing a Syrian Kurdish group called the YPG. This is a group that Turkey views as a terrorist organization. You have the alleged mastermind of the 2006 coup attempt living in Pennsylvania who Turkey wants extradited back. So there's a lot of issues here. It's not something that's going to get solved anytime soon. President Trump has his strong beliefs on these matters. President Erdogan has his strong beliefs on these matters. And we don't see Trump as being very, very pragmatic. President Erdogan has tried to take steps towards him, but we haven't seen those steps come back from Trump. These latest round of sanctions on the Turkish ministers, it's no coincidence that the Turkish lira started crashing with these sanctions, so we can see the politics and foreign policy directly affecting the Turkish economy.
Yeah, definitely. And we have two politicians and presidents who are not going to back down. But let's talk about the implications of this. Some argue that Turkey is not in this situation just because of the U.S. trade wars, just because of the U.S. sanctions. In fact, many experts say that if President Erdogan was wiser in terms of his spending, he could have prevented the impact that he's seeing right now.
No, there are definitely structural problems in Turkey as well. I mean, you have the 2008 period after the subprime crisis. There was a lot of cheap credit in the market. Turkey benefited from this. They underwent what we can call an economic miracle. There was a lot of investments in infrastructure. You have the Eurasia Tunnel, which they built connecting the European side of Istanbul to the Asian side. You have the third bridge, the Yavuz Sultan Selim Bridge, a massive project as well. Many other very, very important projects. But these projects generate cash for the government, so these were important. The main important part of what's going on in Turkey right now structurally is not actually with the public sector, it's more with the private sector. And this is kind of hard to solve because it's not something the government can directly intervene in because it's on a corporate to corporate basis. And even the government doesn't know how deep it runs. So we're going to see as the government is taking very proactive actions, how this is going to trickle down from the nominal to the real to everyday life with the corporates.
Let's talk about the president's position in terms of, drawing a relationship or building on a relationship with other countries so that these import tariffs from the US is not going to have that bigger impact. Is he making any effort to reach out to other countries where he sees potential in FDI and export?
I'm happy you asked this because in the short term, while US sanctions are hurting Turkey, I think in the long term, they're going to help Turkey because they're teaching Turkey to become self-sufficient above all. Turkey's creating more higher value-added products, especially investing in the defense industry. But it has also been able to build a very important relationship with Russia. President Erdogan meets with President Vladimir Putin on a monthly basis. It has helped Turkey develop a relationship with China, which is an integral player in the global arena. And this is a relationship that definitely has room to greatly develop. Turkey's building a relationship with once rival Iran. Now they're partners in the Astana process, which is a process that is trying to help bring peace to Syria. Turkey's reaching out to African countries. We saw President Erdogan a month ago in Johannesburg at the BRICS meeting. He was trying to reach out to the leaders of the BRICS countries. He's maybe even hopeful that maybe Turkey in the future could become a member of the BRICS. We're also seeing President Erdogan reach out to Pakistan. And what they're trying to do is limit their dependency on the US dollar system where they can perform trade in their local currencies. So these are very important at helping cap off the strength of the dollar, maybe strengthening their local currencies. And like I said, going forward, it's going to help these countries become more self-sufficient.
All right, thanks so much for your time. Yusuf Erim is TRT World Turkey analyst. Of course, it's interesting that all of these presidents have to make the right moves, the right chess moves. Who's going to come out tops in the end, Kathy, is something that we should watch quite closely. Given where Turkey is situated, the geographical element of this country, making it attractive to other countries around the world means that it has a strategic position. And some would argue actually a head start in trying to get through what is a bruising trade war currently happening between these two countries. It's going to be very interesting to watch, and we will watch it quite closely given the impact it has on our economy in South Africa. You know that our rand took a knock when the lira crashed here against the US dollar. So Cyril Ramaphosa, the president of South Africa, also needs to watch quite closely what happens in other emerging markets. Kathy?
All right, Shahan, thanks for that. Shahan is out in Istanbul in Turkey for us.